Hello and welcome to the Walk Off, everybody. This is a Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm Scott Belford, joined by the best baseball minds around, in my opinion. Very excited to have co-host extraordinaire Adam Mack and good friend of the show, co-host fill-in extraordinaire. Well, we're throwing around compliments. Joel LaFlamme. Hey, call me on TikTok, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here. It's always nice, Joel, when you can put a little extra time in here and give your opinions on what's going on, and lots to talk about in the baseball world. What looked like was going to be a Los Angeles Dodgers sweep turned out to just be an elongation of this series, if you will, because the Dodgers could not get it done last night. Lots going on, and I can't wait to talk about the whole Mookie Betts and New York Yankee fan interaction there, just to see what you guys thought about it. It is how we're going to start Mailbag. By the way, grounds crew, if you want to get in Mailbag, it's as easy as sending us a message. You can DM us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. You can join the Patreon and get that automatic Patreon bump. You can place your comments in our Discord as well. And if that doesn't work on your end, well, guess what? You can just drop a comment right here on YouTube. And on that, let's dive in. This first message is from Mish. She sent it on Twitter, but she is a Patreon member, so she gets that bump right out of the gate. And it's exactly what we just touched on, what I just brought up here. It's about Mookie Betts. So she goes, so dot dot dot. Had Mookie been injured by those dickbag fans, what would the consequences have been for New York? Is there an MLB rule around opposing team being injured by unruly fans? Game forfeiture, run awarded to opposing team? There should be, because those douche nozzles are being glorified by their fan base and lesser media, and apparently being allowed back for game 5, which is only going to encourage more shitty behavior. There needs to be big consequences for a team org that affects the entire fan base to discourage shitty behavior. Also, dot dot dot. Those tools are lucky that was Mookie and not Tommy Pham, because he would have scaled the wall like a spider monkey and pummeled their asses, which is actually a pretty astute comment. Tommy Pham would not have put up with that like Mookie did. Obviously, game 4, World Series, massive spot. Joel, let's throw to you here. What was your opinion on just that catch in general? Very impressive. He made it, and then they literally had to pry it out of his glove. So great call by the umpire. Do you have any animosity or disdain for the way Major League Baseball handled that? Like, I know that those two guys were kicked out, but with with the fan base there, obviously, like they were kind of like patted on their back for doing what they did. Do you think that's more of an in the moment kind of thing, or is there more to this?
It's definitely the circumstances play to it. Like the announcers even said they never seen anything like this. So Yankee Stadium down 3-0, they feel like they have to a ball comes slightly into their territory and they're going to fight to make sure that that ball doesn't go into the glove. I don't know what the mentality is. Like that's got to be their mindset. So it has to be you know, the superior stakes, right? That is, these guys are drunk in the second inning.
Yes.
This happened early in the game. This was I, I the fact that they can come back to a baseball stadium ever, any stadium. I think it's almost the last time something like I remember there was something in Kansas City where fans jumped out on the field and jumped like the first base coach, like a father and son went out and like fought the first base coach, and that was a decade plus ago. But um, the fact that they can come back for Game 5 is just But then again,
I
it's the
wonder
Yankees.
if they can. Like, I wonder if I know they're reporting that they're coming back for game five because that's what they were told as they were escorted out of the building, but I do wonder if security was just letting them know that so that they didn't have to fight these morons in the crowd to get them to leave. Like, I am really curious where this settles and if they are going to be banned from this series or even banned for life, which they probably should. Like, listen, I will say these guys didn't look like scientists, right? Like these gentlemen did not seem like the most intelligent of the Homo sapiens out there. You know, like this is not like some sort of like quick jump in evolution where you're like, oh, we're gonna see a new guy on the fucking scale here, right? Like they look like guys that check if they have all their fingers because they might have stuck their fingers somewhere it shouldn't have gone, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that. And it, I would say like this is probably not the right thing to say, but that's a situation where the security guard needs to find a reason to use the billy club. Oh,
yes.
you're resisting. What? I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. Let's don't reach into your pocket. Just say those words
Yeah.
and you can hit the fuck out of them. That's
Yeah.
kind of my scenario there is those guys didn't need to be escorted out to handshakes and pats on the back. They needed to be smacked over the head, handcuffed, and dragged out because everyone was cheering it. Everyone in that stadium was cheering it. They instantly became, oh, this is what New York is. This is what our
Yeah.
fan base is. And then you spread that across the entire globe that hey, this is who we are. That's it's insanely embarrassing.
Is
And
this not who Yankees fans are, though? Like,
it is
they're the
exactly who
same people
Yankees
that throw
fans are.
batteries. So I don't know why we're confused or taken aback by any of this. Like, this feels like if this happened in Toronto, I could see being ashamed of it, but like, this just feels like on course for the
See,
Yankees.
but like, good for these guys. They got their 15 minutes. Normally, when they walk into a room, right, people are covering their drinks. That's the type of face that these guys have, right? Do not leave your drink
Jeez.
unattended. But
I
when
didn't
they
even
were
think it
hauled
was
out,
that bad. I hate to say it. I'm listening to you guys and like I get it, but also like I don't
would
know. I
you?
think
This is
I just don't think it was
Adam.
like a
Would you,
premeditated.
if the roles were reversed,
Yeah.
would have you applauded if it was a Jays fan?
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't I? I didn't I watched the replay of it half a dozen times. I mean, it was kind of hilarious to see him literally like two hands on the
He looked like
glove,
a child, like
prying
just
it
like
open. Yeah, right. I mean, dad's there with the candy bar. If you can get the candy bar out of my hand, you can have it.
and he's just going to that hand. Yeah. I was actually impressed with how strong Mookie was just with being able to keep, like, man, he really, what
Yeah.
surprised me about the whole thing is how long it went down. Like, I'm kind of impressed that those guys had the wherewithal to go at it like that for so long. Like, it felt like it wasn't like a 1 second,
Yeah, it was like
oh,
three
in the
seconds.
moment thing. Like, you could tell the
No, it was in the
guys,
moment. You think it was premeditated? Like they were like actively working on it?
I
Because
don't
for
know if
me,
you
this
look,
is like right there with Bartman. This is not like fans being like, "Oh, here's a chance to injure Mookie." This is fans are like, "Hey, I have like my 1 in a million shot at a souvenir from the
it felt
World
like a
Series
moment of
in this moment."
recognition there. That's how long it went on. Like at first, I think it was just
You also
accidental.
acknowledge they were like drunk in the second inning, and now we're
Yes.
saying that they have like the wherewithal to like recognize in the moment we have an opportunity to injure Mookie Betts.
Oh,
it's
I didn't say that they thought they could injure
Okay,
him.
sorry,
I honestly
not trying
thought
to
they
put
just,
words in your mouth.
all I
What are we
thought is it
accusing
seemed,
these drink cover guys of doing?
yeah, well, all I'm saying is that it went on for so long, this struggle with the glove of Mookie Betts, that there was a moment where it felt like, anyways, I could tell that he realized, oh, maybe I can knock the ball out. Like at first, it was just like a tangle up of chaos that I don't think there was any premeditated anything there. But then it clicked with him that, oh shit, maybe this and that's why he was trying to get the ball out so bad all of a sudden. And then it went on so long that it was just like, okay, like the other guy grabbing his hand was fucked up. Like, like the goofy
The
looking
fact
guy
that it
trying to get
became
the,
a tag team.
Have
yeah.
you guys ever seen like a home run ball and the way fans fight each other for Shohei's 50th home run?
Mhm.
Like fans just go nuts for a ball. I think we're overthinking this and projecting too much onto fans that wanted like a souvenir. Like grown men bring
That's
their
what you
gloves
thought.
to a game.
That's what you thought. Those guys just really wanted that ball for their memento sake.
Yeah, 100% I do. 100% I think these were fans we're probably drunk and whatever. I mean, should that behavior be allowed? No, like I think for sure they should get kicked out or whatever, I guess. But even
I
that, I'm
knew
like,
you would be
I
the guy to
don't.
have their backs.
Well, where do we draw the line of they're allowed to wrestle each
Before
other for a ball, but if
before
they
them
didn't go onto the field for it. It was in like foul
Yes,
territory.
Adam, that is the line. They're allowed to wrestle each other for a ball, but not the actual players on the field. That's what my opinion is.
That's fair. That's fair.
it's
It's
just
in
like
foul territory though. Like they didn't fall onto the field for a ball like on the warning track and then wrestle them for it. Like it was at chest level here in the crowd. He's reaching into the crowd to catch the ball. Spectacular play. I don't know. I don't think it's that like for them to get high fives and pats on the back. I don't know. That's Yankees fans. Like I don't know if I'd
Yeah.
be. I don't know.
I say this with no hate in my heart. Those guys are just morons.
I also look at it as a situation of that netting is going to be everywhere now,
That's
Yeah.
my first thought too.
right? They're keep wrapping the baseball stadium up and no balls will ever go into the stands and we will never get those interactions because these kinds of things can happen. Yeah. So it's just like, and you can't have your $800 Pinto scratching the $3 million Lamborghini, right? Like these are schlubs who are meaningless to anything in this, and that's $360 million Mookie Betts, right?
So
And,
if
it was
okay.
a violent act of tearing the ball out, right? And it was the guy was putting full everything he had into pulling the ball out of a guy who's sitting there with his wrist like this.
Yeah.
I don't know what that does to his wrist. Then another guy, then Mookie's like,
The
"Ow,
second guy
I'm
grabbing
hanging
his
from-"
hand was where I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Like,
Mookie's like, I'm hanging from the stands now. I'm going to pry this guy away. I'm going to reach in. And then this guy grabs my hand and stops that so that they can keep physically pulling at a ball. Now, I don't know if that hurts his wrist. It didn't, but it very well could have. So in all of these scenarios of having a guy who's worth that and two guys hurt him in the World Series,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I'll draw my line definitely before that.
What
Okay,
was
so
your
we
instant,
fence-
what was your
we-
instant reaction? Because I'll be honest, when I watched it, I did burst out laughing. I like it was just the guy was so fucking like he looked like a small child, like you said with the candy bar in the hand. If you can get the candy, my hand open, you get the candy. Like he was just like I mean, after I had a few seconds to think about it, obviously my reaction was like, "Oh, that was dangerous. That could get injured." Like that.
Timeout. Timeout. Okay. This is where like the armchair quarterback of it all comes in, where like you as a spectator watching it happen in the moment goes, "This is funny," and then after the fact goes, "Oh, this is bad. We shouldn't do this."
I never said it was. I thought I presented this pretty lighthearted. I thought it was kind of funny. I mean,
I don't understand your take then. I think to project like malice on these guys as being like these like I don't know. It's
they're in a pinstripe shirt. It wouldn't matter what they did. They're pieces of shit.
When they're also in that same moment though, like as us watching it go, "Oh, that's hilarious." And then them are also in the moment going, "Hey, I have a chance to fucking wrestle a ball out of the guy." Like
Right.
I mean, they probably had that same moment of clarity afterwards. Like, oh, yeah, we could have maybe hurt him there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't like that I was so mean to them. I shouldn't have talked about them being dumb.
No, it's fine. It's Mish. Mish is at fault here. She's too hard.
Well, yeah, that's me.
It's way too nasty of comments. Those poor Yankees fans. No, of course not. Yeah, it's just okay. So, like Joel said, the netting continues all the
Mhm.
way to the foul poles at some point, right? Like it's almost there now.
Yeah.
Then disconnect the fan from ever being
Yeah.
able to touch the home
This
run
is
ball.
this is my point. At what point do we remove the first row of seats, put up some behind the net hockey net style things all the way around, and then we MLB, as I say we get all of our home run souvenir balls back. We don't have to worry about trading a baseball bat for Shohei's 75th home run. We caught it in our net. It never goes to the fans in the first place. I
And
am so anti-net.
when that happens, I hope everyone knows that the fucking ones to blame are Yankees fans. And
Those
that,
two guys and Bartman.
and well, this is the thing. I feel like it's not the same as Bartman
Why not?
because Bartman didn't wrestle the ball out of the guy's hand.
Because he caught it cleaner? Like,
Yeah,
you don't think if Moises
100%.
Alou, if Moises Alou was in the same situation, you don't think Bartman would have made an effort?
I don't.
Okay.
Cubs fans, they're a different breed.
Pinstripes.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's like, whatever. I think there's gonna be posters of those guys at tonight's game.
I
There'll be
know.
fans holding up screenshots of that or something. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, there'll be shirts and there'll be heroes.
Yeah, they'll be heroes.
I'll turn the tide.
Oh God, don't say that, Joel.
That's the
Imagine.
way that they explained it on the post wrap was like, and did they turn the series? Did these fans turn the series? And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
That's
Yeah.
every fan's dream, though, is to be a part of it, isn't it? I mean, not every fan's, but like that's the idea of like, oh, like getting to have an
yeah,
effect on the
I would think in the
outcome of the
moment
game.
it's coming down and the gloves coming and it's easier and you that was their moment. Then their moment was realized to be we failed. We failed saving an out because it's our territory. And if we would have just got our hands on that ball and deflected it in any way, he'd be safe. He'd still be up at the plate. Oh shit, I fucked that up. I'm going to try within 4 seconds maybe to pull that ball out and get this ball called safe. They had a chance. It was right there. It really was right there for them just to go, here's the glove, and just go, nope, not going into that glove.
Is there a chance they didn't know it was Mookie Betts? Like, if
No.
you're just drunk at a game, there's no chance.
No,
There's no
there's
chance.
No chance. Because
There's
they've been
no-
heckling him. They've
There-
been heckling him for
Yeah, okay. I know they know it's Mookie Betts, the right fielder. I mean, is there a chance you're drunk and there's a thing and you go to catch it and then there's your buddy's hand over here and then there's a kid with a baseball glove over here? You don't know who's might be prying it out of this kid's baseball mitt, which is just a bit of a piece of shit move. But what do? I don't know. Like now, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't even know it was like a player in this. I mean, the second guy probably did because it looked like he reached in and grabbed his elbow, basically. But I don't know. The guy who was like holding on, like trying to rip open the glove, that could have easily been a grown man's glove beside him. And people fight for foul balls and home runs all the time. They're vindicated in my books. Wow, whatever. You're drunk. It's the heat of the moment. You have 3 seconds. It's
You know
everything's
what?
a blur and everyone's fighting over a ball. I give them some slack. You can hate
Maybe
me
I'd
if
be
you
more on
want.
your side if the guy had a better face. You know,
Yeah,
like I could just be judging his big dumb-eared face, and
yeah,
that is on me, I
that's fair.
guess.
There you go. This would be a good topic for Long toss.
How smart does your face need to be before you give a guy a little bit more leeway? That could be the
Yeah.
topic. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on. This is from Josh. He DM'd and was like, "Hey, are you guys watching the Sportsnet broadcast? If yes, thoughts on Kevin Pillar? Did you see
Snooze hated Kevin Pillar on Sportsnet.
really? Didn't
Man, does he
enjoy
lack charisma. Oof.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Joel, did you happen to see Pillar doing
I feel like he's pretty new at this. That's what it feels
Yes.
like. Is this is a deer in the headlights kind of situation of being under the bright lights, different bright lights for the first
His
time.
suit wasn't even plaid. Like, how am I supposed to take him seriously?
It's a really good point.
Thank you.
It is a great point. I do
No, I mean,
remember watching Joe Siddle when he first started, and I do remember Caleb Joseph when he first started. And both of them are so good now, but also were so rough around the edges when they first started. So I think judging too harshly on Pilar for his first few times. But you know what?
I'm not saying he has no career in broadcasting, but I did not enjoy it. I'm not going to pretend I did.
Grounds crew, drop your comments below. What were your thoughts on the whole Yankee fan Mookie Betts scenario, and where were you at on Kevin Pillar? Who enjoyed him? Who didn't? Maybe we'll tackle this
Does
on
Kevin
Friday.
Pillar need to be brought in for the World Series, though?
Well, you got to bring in the big guns.
No, but I mean, is he done in baseball? Is he retired now?
That has yet
Is
to be
this
announced, but that's all the speculation. So he's probably going to announce retirement after the World Series is my guess. Anyways, I know he was when he joined the Angels and made the All-Star game and all of that, he did say, that this is probably it once he had his 10 years of service time.
service time? Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll probably start seeing him more on Sportsnet then, right? Because he's
Yeah.
the Blue Jay. So, yeah.
This is from Chris Keeping. He goes, I got a mailbag question, and maybe we'll throw to you on this one, Joel. Would it be better to trade Bo during the off season or closer to the trade deadline?
Uh, Trade deadline, because you still have to play to win the first 2/3 of the season. You still have they're still going to try to put a competitive ball club out there and try to win games. So whatever you're getting in return for Bo is it might help you eventually, but it's probably more long-term pieces, and then there may be more value on Bo, and you may not trade Bo. Who knows? You may be competitive and you may need him. So I'd probably hold on to him till the
So
deadline.
there was, and I don't know if you've seen the comeback yet on Netflix, Joel, but basically it's the 2004 Red Sox down 0-3 comeback story. And they wound up moving Nomar Garciaparra as his contract expired in the middle of a pennant race at the trade deadline, which I had forgot totally about. I forgot that Nomar was like on that 2004 team. In my mind, they had moved him at the deadline, or sorry, at the in the off season after 2023, and that wasn't the case at all. Curious your thoughts on Bo Bichette if this team is in the pennant still, and if this front office has the, I don't know, for lack of a better term, the cojones, I guess, to do a similar idea where like you're trading one of your best players, but you are still trying to bolster that team and move forward and using an expiring contract to try and do that. Is that something we could see happen?
If you're competitive, it's probably because Bo's doing something,
Yeah.
right? If you're competitive, it's probably because Bo's regained his league leading hit form, and he's batting 315 and his defense is solid. Like if that's the case, that's a lot. That's a 5.5 WAR player that, what are you going to get in return? You need offense, and you need offense coming from positions like shortstop and center
Yeah.
field and second base. So if you're able to if Bo comes back, and Bo is Bo, and we're competitive, that's going to be a tough situation. That Red Sox team had Bill Miller and Manny Ramirez and Trot Nixon and uh,
Big
David
Poppy
Ortiz.
and
It was just this.
Johnny Damon, and
Yeah,
yeah.
there was enough offense there, and with us, Bo is, if he's successful next year, he's going to be a big piece of our offense. So it's going to be tough to chip that piece away for.
I know you mentioned this, Adam, but it kills me that you might be right that like we might just watch Bo and Vlad just walk. Like we might not trade them. There might not be like I think it was a couple weeks ago you brought up that you're like it just feels like that might be the route this organization's taking, and I hate it.
Remember 2017 and 2018 when all we really had to enjoy was Bo and Vlad in AAA,
Yeah.
right? And it was like, just get ready for those years again, when it's like Arjun Namala. And we're like, oh, this kid's really got something. It's gonna be fucking great. I don't know. Who hit Bo Bichette or Juan Soto? Who hits more playoff home runs for the Dodgers next year? That's what I want to know. Juan Soto's gonna be a Dodger, right?
I don't
I don't
know.
know, or the Yankees stay like the Yankees cannot lose him, but could, right? The Yankees
Yeah.
very well could lose him, but they can't. And
Yeah, the Yankees without Juan Soto, I mean, they didn't even make the playoffs. This team is not all that different from 2023 when they were short to even getting the third wild card, right?
Yeah.
they had a Kansas City Cleveland road to the World Series, and
Yeah.
those teams had 15 wins against the White Sox. So it was just what they were above 500 was their internal divisional record, and then Yankees, a little bit better team, smoked them both. But really, like Dodgers, Mets, Padres, Phillies, where do the Yankees rank in the National League? Like fifth or sixth?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dodgers are better. Padres would probably be better. Phillies would probably be better. I may be fourth. I think they're better than the Mets.
Maybe better than the Diamondbacks. They didn't even make the playoffs. They
Yeah.
had the most runs
I was just going to say they also
in
scored the most runs in the National League, which is wild.
Um, yeah.
but
It's fucking
losing
what a bummer of
Soto,
a
where are
World
they?
Series this is.
What was
What?
that?
I
I
just
was
said it's a bummer of a
after
tag,
you.
you're it.
After you.
Um,
Bummer.
just what a bummer of a World Series this is, that we hate the matchups and they won't even give us seven compelling games. That
Yeah.
was the only upside of this, was that it was going to be seven games like game one.
Garrett Cole on the mound tonight. You think they push it to six? Do you think this series goes back to LA?
I don't.
24 times in World Series history, the team has been down 3-0, and there has never been a team to win game four until last night with the Yankees. Do you think that this signifies some sort of grand comeback where
So
Netflix can make a whole documentary on that upstart Yankee team, those underdogs overcoming the
so
Goliath that is LA?
so what you're telling me is a team has never been down 3-0, won game four, and then ever lost game five, six, and seven.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
never
I'm saying.
happened.
Yeah,
Wow. That's crazy.
very crazy.
Put
Going
that
to
on the bulletin
Patreon.
board. Yeah.
I get
This is Ian, SCTI. He says, Scott, I love your untamed Yankees hate on the pod lately and the joy of seeing them fall apart. I feel the same way. Yeah, you know, comes from a place deep within me.
I was gonna say that the thing that I see on social media is these Yankee moments get wrapped up because whenever you do something successful in baseball, you have to wrap it up in the Moneyball ending,
Hmm.
right? And just to see it being done to the Yankees and seeing like them cut to Billy Bean reacting to
Yeah,
Yankees doing stuff, I'm just like, no, this does not work.
yeah,
This is oil and water. We can't have Moneyball happening positively to the Yankees. This is
yeah.
the exact
It is.
opposite
It
of the
did make me
movie.
laugh too. Number one, so overdone at this point. Not that it doesn't still, give me goosebumps when it's done right. Those edits are pretty cool sometimes. But yeah, the Yankees one, it is very funny where it's
That's
like,
when
what is
it's gone far too
literally
far.
the opposite of what the movie's about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love on social media when I see a post and it's like Dodgers, Yankees, the World Series that matchup that 28 fan bases didn't want to see. And all I could think was, I could think of one more fan base that also probably isn't happy with this matchup right now. So,
Yep. All right, going to Johnny and Patreon here. He's commenting on our talk from MLB Mondays, where you played the A-Rod and Jeter clip of them really roasting Aaron Boone for taking Garrett Cole out too soon. So Johnny goes, I agree with A-Rod and Jeter about Cole. There is no reason to pull him. Go actually look at Cole's stats third time through the order. He's better than he is the first or second time through. If he's dealing, you keep him, you let him keep pitching. I'm not saying it's a general principle to be followed, but A Rod and Jeter were right. And then he gives some stats. I don't know, Adam, if you got a sec to pull up T OPS plus. I did look it up and it's about splits and high leverage. And I just want to make sure I got it right. But Cole's TOPS plus pitch 1 to 25 is 66. So he's keeping hitters well below average. Pitch 26 to 50 is 173. So in those 25 pitches, that's when you can get to Cole. That's a 77% increase on the league average. Pitch 51 to 75, 95, so a few points under average. And then anything over 100 pitches, he's at 25. But I will say, and I know Adam and I looked into this, Cole only pitched over 100 pitches 4 times this season, and it was like 101, 102, 104 a couple of times. So very, very small sample size there. It's not like Cole's some sort of demon pitcher after 100 pitches. He just almost never does it. So. And when you let a guy go over 100 pitches, normally he's going to be dealing,
TOPS plus is 100 is his own performance,
right?
his
His own
own
performance. Okay.
average. So it's like, OPS plus 100 being league average. This is his typical baseline.
Right.
So
Okay.
TOPS
Perfect.
plus of under 100 would be relative to how you usually do. You're
Right.
underperforming. Over 100 relative to how you personally usually do. Better.
Perfect. Thank you for looking that up.
Welcome.
Joel, how do you feel about where Garrett Cole was pulled in game one after 6 innings and 88 pitches? Do you think he should have been out there in the seventh?
It's $325 million. That's what you pay him for. You don't. We come postseason, and it's just every single year. Why did you take this guy out when he was dealing? Why did you take this guy out when he was dealing? This is a starter. We almost forget what starters are.
Yeah.
We, it's a situation with Cole where he didn't throw 200 innings this year. If he's healthy, if he's good to go, it's not like he's. When's the scenario going to be when you do let a guy pitch in the World Series, right? We try to connect to the bullpen so quickly, and I don't know. It's baffling to me when they're 88 pitches. How many do you come out at?
88.
Yeah,
Yeah.
88.
88. Like, there's no reason for him not to get to 100. And 100 is such an arbitrary number. It's just 100. It's just this. I always laugh at this idea that we look at the those pitches, but we don't look at warm up pitches. Like at one point, or is a warm up pitch. Oh, he threw that ball 94, but that doesn't count. That's not throwing a ball. We're counting throwing a ball, but we're not counting throwing a ball. What is the point of it? It's success or not successful. He hadn't given up a run. I think that you would give Garrett Cole the opportunity to pitch out of some traffic, but I don't know. We're so quick to hook. If we're hooking Garrett Cole, then we're hooking everybody. We're taking everybody out of games. And the ace, does the ace even really exist anymore? Right? There's two guys in this series who are $650 million between them as starting pitchers, and we're excited when they do 6 in the third.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a situation where 20 years ago when Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson won a World Series by themselves, they were going out every single game. It was 8.
This is one thing that Adam and I were talking about when we got into this discussion, was that the game has changed so much that it is a lot to expect your stud. We don't need to necessarily use the word ace, but your top pitcher on whatever team we're talking about here. They average half a dozen, maybe 10 of their, let's say, 32 starts where they're hitting 100 pitches. Like it's such a rarity these days to even see a pitcher go over 100. And I know that was the one thing that Jeter and A-Rod were talking about, and the example they gave was Al Leiter going 160 or 143 pitches. But also, we went back and looked over the stats at that time, and Al Leiter had gone to 130 pitches like half a dozen times that year and was over 110 more than half the time. So, like, there is that. He's been built up, he's used to it. I don't know necessarily. I mean, I know when you're in the World Series, all rules are off, right? Like, obviously, there's no restrictions with only a few games to go in the season, no matter what happens. But I do wonder if getting these guys to be 140 pitches, like your stud pitcher in the playoffs after not doing it all year, is beneficial at all. Like, can guys even do that anymore? Because they're never put in those positions to do it.
I think when you're looking at these kind of scenarios and you see a guy who comes out in the first inning and he's throwing 97 where he usually throws 94, and you see the adrenaline's up, and then that peaks and then starts to decline, and in the third he's back down to 92 and he's 90 because he's got that adrenaline dump. Cole's not that guy. Like, I've made a video or two about Garrett Cole, and I'm coming off as a fan right now, but he's a horse. He's a guy who is built for those moments, and yeah, like I'm it's a situation where you have to live and die by your best players too. There was a chance that Cole didn't see the mound again, right? If they got swept, there's no Garrett Cole tonight, right? So to me, sitting there with Garrett Cole still having bullets in the gun, and he doesn't get to shoot them, and you get swept in 4 games,
Now, it is interesting to wonder, like, I do wonder where Carlos Rodon is at if we, like, TBA still for game 6. I mean, that's where he would slot in. He was basically couldn't even throw his fastball by the end of game 2 there. So if that is the case, I do wonder if, like, Cole was in, maybe they knew something about other pitchers in the lineup and they were like, we might need this guy long term. Who knows, man? Like, we're not privy to all the information, but I do agree with you in that you're paying him $325 million. He is your guy. It is game 1 of the World Series. But also the Yankees have been touted as like the best bullpen, one of the best bullpens in baseball, right? So it's like, do you go to your strength or do you go to your strength? I have a hard time shitting on Boone for this, I guess is my response to this. I don't really feel strongly either way if he should have been pulled or you should have let him go, but I do think that how Boone was kind of put his feet to the fire there by Jeter and A-Rod. I just think that it was less of a big deal than maybe
I guess
folks are
I guess
saying.
my last counterpoint was that when you go to your bullpen early, you go to your bullpen early and you go to your high leverage arms, and then you got a tight game that goes into the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
You've used your arms, and now you got to go to Nestor,
I was just
whoever
gonna say
pitches
that. Yeah, Nestor
number
Cortez.
18,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like it's that I think what Jeter and A-Rod were bringing up is this domino effect of going to the bullpen too early. And sure, all the moves up to the ninth seemed to be right, but there was an extra inning tonight, and you weren't ready for that because you didn't let Garrett Cole pitch one extra inning, right? Maybe you win that game if Garrett Cole pitches one extra inning and everybody slots back to their natural spots, and you got that one extra inning covered, But so it's kind of that domino effect. That's the term that they were using, and then how that affects the subsequent night and how you have to approach that. And you've used your pen up, but yeah, it's just I don't. I think with a guy like Garrett Cole, you have to be willing to win on his back, and you have to be willing to lose on his back, right? If that makes sense, that's the point of an ace: is that this guy is out there and we're either going to win with him or we're going to lose with him. But he's the one guy that we have to give that opportunity to on this team, because that's the difference. That's the difference between him and everybody else.
Moving on. Mark in Patreon says, I've done apple bongs. I've done banana bongs. How the hell have I never carved a pumpkin bong? This is just I was telling everyone my wife's and my little tradition of like we each carve a pumpkin each and then there's a third pumpkin that we turn into a pumpkin bong, and so that's what he was referencing there.
It's the flavor
40
of
and still a dirt bag, everybody. Hey. Okay, going to YouTube. Mark Ryan, and this is beautiful because honestly, Adam, and I texted you this that as I was putting last episodes, uploading last episode up, Friday's episode, I burst out laughing as I was attaching the thumbnail because you had like, man, the thumbnail reminded me of Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where it's just like Charlie and he's got the map up and the ropes all over the place and he's got like these harebrained ideas.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And you did have a very interesting, intriguing idea. And this is what Mark Ryan was responding to.
This
Basically,
is why I shouldn't be allowed to have thoughts before coffee. Okay.
yes. So, for the purpose of the CBT assessment, the average of the player's salary per year is used in calculation of taxes applied in each year. Because your idea was, well, why don't we front load it, pay an astronomical amount for whatever player, and then
Every third year, pay them $0.
yeah, pay them $0 so that it circumvents the luxury tax. Mark Ryan coming in and being like, no, 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 that's not how it works. And then Scott Carter responded to that, yeah, 100% not how it works. Or you would see every contract being structured so all the salary is on a single year. So
Yeah.
sometimes great ideas die. It's too bad, buddy.
Yep.
I liked it. I was so on board with it while you were doing the breakdown, but
Darn.
leave it to the grounds crew, eh?
Yep.
Boo Must Die commented, I do hate seeing Yankees and Bo Sox hats out here in Alberta because you know that these are terrible people and are likely on some sort of list. But in all actual seriousness, I do have a Pirates, a Reds, and a Brewers hat, but everyone knows these are aesthetic choices. So there you go. Time and Space left a comment. There must be another guy somewhere in MLB who once had a high potential and has long since lost his sparkle. Surely, if such a guy exists, this is the kind of trade that gets us out from the Manoah situation. Find an equivalent. Suggest to the team that swapping these two potential stars, quote, end quote, could benefit both. And then really, we can't blame anyone but ourselves if Manoah works out or whoever we pick up doesn't. Just a thought. So, kind of floating a reclamation project swap, if you will. Um, Adam, what do you think about something like that? Because I found it interesting, but I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, I would far rather it see like a Springer for a Jordan Montgomery, right? Like swapping two big salaries of guys that aren't working out right now.
Well, I mean, I wanted Cody Bellinger in free agency, and you wouldn't even have to give up Alec Manoah, and nobody seemed to like that idea. So I don't know why give up Alec Manoah for a Cody Bellinger-esque guy if you don't want to bring in a Cody Bellinger-esque guy for free. I don't know.
Oh, so you're just saying in this scenario, Cody Bellinger's the reclamation project type of idea?
No, something like that. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. But I mean, he's the guy that had sky's the limit Hall of Fame potential and then fell apart
yeah.
and didn't seem to be any genuine interest in Cody Bellinger because he's a bum. And I'm just saying, we weren't interested, we as a fan base, generally speaking, weren't interested in Cody Bellinger. So, and we wouldn't have had to give up Alec Manoah. So, like, why would we be interested in another team's fallen star when we do have to give up? Like, why not just have had both? I don't know. Have your cake and eat it too. I don't, I don't know. I'm sour
Joel, do
grapes
you
about Cody Bellinger still. I
Joel, do
still
you
would
like
like
the
him.
you still would like him?
I'd take him. Yeah.
Interesting. Joel, do you believe in Alec Manoah? Do you think that there's a world where hanging on to him is the best move, or do you think that maybe fresh scenery might be good for him, and if there is a comparable reclamation project out there?
I'm trying to think of who that reclamation project would be because you want somebody
Yeah,
arb years, right? Like you don't want
with
to
some upside. Yeah.
um trading him to the Guardians for Jimenez. I don't know. Like, what do you? Some sort of
Yeah, maybe.
right? Like, is it that kind of deal? I see where Adam's coming from. Of like, why trade it for a guy that you could just go out and get and not have to deal Manoa? I'd like to go out and get somebody and then maybe also like with Manoa, it's just a situation of like, doesn't he deserve another chance somewhere else? When does a player just not fit somewhere? We're trying to get him back. The whole issues of 2 seasons ago and all of that, and then rolling that into an injury year. I don't know. Feels like fresh scenery would probably do him good.
Seemed
But
to work for Nate Pearson. I know a very small sample size, but
What's the name of that shortstop on the White Sox everybody hates? Who was the best shortstop in baseball 3 years ago?
Tim
Tim
Anderson,
Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
I think he's a free agent. I think
He's a
he's
free agent.
been released by the Marlins.
Yeah, they paid him
Yeah.
$5 million, which was one of the highest salaries on that team, by the way. And then they released him.
All right.
Got to give
Another
Otto
situation
Lopez
where you
playing
can
time.
have your
Got
cake
to
and eat
give
it
Otto
too.
Lopez playing time, right?
Right.
Love it.
We'll get Tim Anderson and Cody Bellinger.
Think Tim Henderson's still only like 32, 33.
Yeah, 31 right now.
Tim Henderson's only 31.
He'll be 32 on June 23rd. Yeah.
Isn't that
Wow.
wild?
Wow.
I know.
How quickly his speedy he won a batting title.
I know. He was literally going to be the cornerstone of that organization for years. Like that's talk about a fall from grace. All right.
I
Last two questions. Go ahead, Adam.
was just gonna say back to Cody Bellinger. I feel like I'm really beating the dead horse here. He seems whatever. Um, Looking at that Dodgers batting order though, like as balanced as it gets, it's like lefty righty, lefty righty,
Yeah.
lefty righty, lefty righty, switch hitter. But all their lefties are like amazing
Good
hitters.
lefties. Yeah.
That
It's
aren't
not like
afraid of
just
lefties.
lefties for the sake of it. It's like, yeah, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, like, and we're like, hey, we've got a lefty, Kevin Biggio and Dalton Varsho. That's fucking, oh, it stresses me out.
There was a real time for us where Kyle Schwarber was sitting there after coming off of the Red Sox, and he went to the Phillies for
Yeah.
4 years, 80 million, something like that. He was
Yeah.
just sitting right there, just
Uh,
devastating left-handed bat in the middle of our lineup.
Blue Jays batting order April 1st of this season. Righty, 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 lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. So we had three lefties in the lineup. It was Dalton Varsho, Kevin Kiermaier, and Kevin Biggio.
Ugh.
Wow, what a beautifully balanced lineup that was.
That's not an OPS plus. That's an OPS minus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Going to Becky Peterson from YouTube. She says, I am with Scott. I am for the Dodgers, and I have changed my mind completely. I didn't want it to be this set of teams, but now that it is happening, I'm excited about it. When I realized it was 1981, the last time these teams met, I realized my prejudice was not based on facts, which is fine. A lot of my prejudices are not based on facts, as Adam brings up when I start spewing my Yankee hatred. He loves to throw that back at me. So, all right, last question here. We'll go around the horn and see what both Adam and Joel think about this. This is from SCTI, and he says, has Freddie Freeman gone from a borderline Hall of Famer to a first ballot just from this series?
No, he was never a borderline Hall of Famer. That's my outrage with this. He was his OPS plus is like 150 for 15 years in a row. He's just been great forever. Maybe not 150, but it's been well over 100. I mean, amazing World Series he's having. Watching him leg out like to beat out a double play on
Oh,
one and a
that was
half
so
ankles.
beautiful.
I
On
swear
one
that was
leg.
the fastest I've ever seen him move.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's just wild
And
when
what is
some
he
guys
at
can
now?
dig
I
deep
think
like
it's
that.
7 home runs in a row in a World Series game.
At
Like,
6, he just passed Springer's record.
right.
6 in a row.
Like, wow.
Um,
If the
yeah.
Dodgers end it today, and let's say Freddie goes 1 for 4 with a single,
Mhm.
he's still World Series MVP, Joel,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, who else could we give it to?
Like,
Nobody's even close on that
nobody's
team.
close
He
to
could
what he's done.
probably the
He might
Dodgers.
win it if the Yankees end up coming back. Freddie Freeman might still be World Series MVP.
That's not a stretch. I think if he sits and the Dodgers win, like if he weren't able to play and the Dodgers won in 6, and he wasn't had anything, it didn't have anything to do with the remaining outcome of the series. I think he still wins it.
Yeah.
Like Kirk Gibson won it off a grand slam, won at bat, game 1. He won the MVP off a grand slam. Never played again in that entire series. Won the MVP. Freddie did it in a more grandiose scenario.
Yeah.
A grand slam, which had never been done. So that ticks him up beyond what Kirk Gibson did. And then
I mean,
he
he's
did
at
it.
4 home runs in this series. It's
Yeah,
wild.
and then he subsequently hit 3 home runs in the next 3 games. So it's like, absolutely.
And what's
He's
even more
absolutely.
impressive, gentlemen, is if this was game 148, Freddie Freeman would not be in the lineup. You know, like if this was just a regular season game, Freddie Freeman would be on the IL. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, he would have been
Freddie
MVP.
Freeman, by the way, just his Hall of Fame resume right now.
Mhm.
Um, Career OPS plus 142 over 15 seasons. Um, has an MVP, 8-time All-Star, has a Gold Glove, a World Series, 3 times Silver Slugger. Here's his OPS plus by season. 32 as a 20-year-old rookie, then 116, 113, 147, 139, 132, 157, 155, 139, 135, 187, 136, 156, 163, 143.
Good Lord.
143 was this year.
Yeah,
And that was a down year for him.
yeah. He
But
only
that's the
hit
big
282 this season with 22
that's
home runs,
but
but he had 35 doubles. Yeah.
career average OPS plus still, and it was a down year for what you would expect from Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Still
Hard not to
143.
constantly think about those Carlos Varga, Freddie Freeman to the Blue Jays rumors,
Oh, man.
and that it's just like, God damn, that would have been a nice bat hitting
That would have
second in
been,
that order.
yeah, that would have been everything.
How's this for a reclamation project? While we're on the topic of the Braves, Jared Kelenic, you interested in him?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just as I think he fits the criteria for that topic of sixth overall draft pick. He's got years of control left. Kind of flamed out once he got to the big leagues, but the hype on him was real before he got here. Hasn't really done much since he's been in the bigs, but he's now 383 games into his career. Has a career batting average 218, slugging 379, good for an OPS plus 86. But I don't know.
Yeah, I like it.
Fucking would Alek
But I
Manoah
also
on the
would way
Braves?
rather,
Oh, would Joel ever be sick to his stomach to see Alek Manoah win a Cy Young for the Braves? The Alex Anthopoulos love? Off the charts if that happened.
yeah.
Just replicates Chris Sale's delivery from the right side.
One thing I will say about reclamation projects is if the Blue Jays do go that route, damn, they better sign a real bat as well. You know, like they better not just be picking around the edges at reclamation projects and we have four of them. Like one is fine. I'm cool with one.
We'll
Grounds
see.
crew, drop your comments. Let us know what you think. This has
Off
been
season
Mailbag.
starts tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. Off season starts tomorrow. That's the kind of upbeat Adam Mack I like to hear from. A big thank you, Joel, for joining, my man. Always appreciate your input and you contributing your baseball knowledge.
Yes,
So
thanks, Joel.
check everyone, check Joel out on TikTok. Hey, Kami, Adam, a pleasure as always. To all the grounds crew, we couldn't do this podcast without you. Thank you so much for all of your clicks, your views. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We'll see you on Friday, folks. Take care. Enjoy game 5.